Hey there, Boutique. Noah. Everyone who reads and must converse is the channel. Um, Today I'm going to wrap up Thomas Pynchon's Against the Day. Although I will never wrap up this book. Mm, it's beautiful. I tell you. And I would never have thought that I would describe a Thomas Pynchon novel as beautiful. And that would be sufficient to say without, clarification. And if you haven't read Against the Day, it is like that. Thomas Pynchon is not a beautiful writer. His prose may be very beautiful in some places. The subject matter is very different. And then there's just a lot. There's a lot to Thomas Pynchon. Anybody who has come in contact with his works knows that. And the thing is Thomas Pynchon is a virtuoso writer. He can write about anything. His novels are all very, very different. It's very hard to suggest a Thomas Pynchon novel to people across the board. And that's why when I do suggest, if somebody asks me personally, where should I start with Thomas Pynchon or what should I read? I might give them a different answer than I give to somebody else, right? This book is almost universally recommendable as long as somebody's willing to take the time to read it, because it is over 1,000 pages. But if you saw the first part of my Thomas Pynchon wrap-up, I'm not going to rehash that kind of stuff, so I suggest you check it out. It's in the description box, and then I'm going to just wrap it up today. I said that this was like reading 4 novels at one time, and it's not like that. It's like reading 5, okay? Starting with the place where I was at, which was Against the Day, part 4 of Thomas Pynchon's Against the Day is called Against the Day, and it is the latter third of the book. It is a completely different novel than what has come before. We're about 2/3 of the way through part 4, Against the Day. So after I had done that first part, I started that, and we meet completely new character. And many new characters, but we meet another main character. And his name is Cyprian. And Cyprian is a very, very, a very eccentric, kind of very strange. Not everybody's going to relate to Cyprian. That's for sure. But Cyprian is a major character that lasts with us until the end of the novel. And Cyprian's story, his narrative, and this kind of thing that Thomas Pynchon does with that part of the book, and I don't mean that number of pages of the book, I mean that part of the narrative, because all these narratives, the 4 that I spoke on in the first video, and Cyprian's as well, all are playing out at the same time. And we get chapters sometimes from one, sometimes from the other, right? But Cyprian's, we get a huge chunk of his story because he just starts, we just meet him in, around page 700, and that he'll last with us for the final 380 something pages of the book. It is very hardcore erotica, very explicit sexual activity, taboo sex, almost to the point, and it wouldn't be a stretch to call it full-on pornographic. It is wild stuff. And it is shocking stuff in a lot of ways. And the thing is Thomas Pynchon is so amazing of a writer that he can do anything and bring it to this kind of level, to a level of storytelling that you didn't think. I mean, I wasn't not interested. You know what I mean? Um, and it's like that with every storyline that he goes through with it. But you are very, very deep in intimate relationship with uh, Thomas Pynchon's characters, Cyprian especially. And Cyprian is a heartbreaking kind of character. I don't relate to Cyprian personally, but I I can was fully in that part of the story that I could feel for Cyprian. I could feel his motivations and his thoughts and feelings on stuff, why he is the way that he is. And it is just mind blowing. So Cyprian gets into a relationship with one of the Traverse family. His name is Reef, but not him right off the bat. Reef has hooked up with a member of a character that we've met already. Her name is Yashmin, and Yashmin is a very powerful character. One of the strongest, most well fleshed out female characters that I've ever read about, for sure. So as it goes through this book, the latter parts of it have so much heart, have so much real life, real people heart to it that I was really, really affected by. And most of them are going through a war zone. Okay, they're in Europe. World War One has kicked off, and they are on, they're where they don't want to be. They want to get back to, sorry about that. They want to get back to a place where they're not, in danger. A place where fighting is not actively happening, because they're not, they are not part of the the city or the country even that they're in. None of these characters are. Austria, they're in Austria. They're in Slovenia, Czechoslovakia. They're in Italy. They're just in that part of Europe right there, right? Mountains and sea, and they're just trying to make their way through. But it's not about the plot. This book has a lot of plot, and the plot is very, very well done. All the different storylines are very well done, and you're gonna love getting into that for sure. But what really makes Against the Day so amazing is the characters. This is a beautifully character-driven novel, and the characters end up revealing themselves very, very intimately to the reader. As far as there's like nothing hidden. These people and their motivations and their desires and their fears. And there's a lot of, I want to say heart, but what I mean is like real expression of what it means to care for each other in this messed up world that we live in. And the end is super satisfying. I want you to know that to go through this and to get through it, get to the end of it, is very, very much worth the read. But this book is an adult book more than any adult book that I've ever read. You don't read this and worry about trigger warnings, because there's there's an essay full of trigger warnings. There is just the whole gamut of human experience is depicted in Against the Day. At the end, though, and once it's all said and done, it is an amazing exploration of genre, of storytelling, of characters. So many will stick with you. And Thomas Pynchon does every bit of it to stunning effect. Like I said, totally a virtuoso writer. And when it's all over with, you will remember parts and can't wait to get back and re-experience those parts that are so different. There's, different genres, different things going on, so different than each other that it's wild that it's in the same book. It really is. I have a feeling that Thomas Pynchon took his sweet time writing this book. He might have wrote this book over the course of 10 or even 20 years. Maybe even more, for all I know. This book came out in 2006, I believe. So it's 14 years old now. And Thomas Pynchon might have started writing this and had certain ideas of characters and storylines and started writing this, even back in the 70s or something like that, when he was doing things like Vineland. It's a beautiful thing, and it's very clear that Thomas Pynchon spent a lot of time with these characters. He knows them inside and out, and by the end of the book, you know them inside and out, and some you love, some you hate. There's definitely some bad dudes, bad people in this book, of males and females. But there is something to be said about the power struggles that are shown in Against the Day. Some of the most awesome, overarching storylines is the power structures that are in the world. And of course there's different governments, but especially, nowadays, governments are governments, but what really runs the world is corporations, right? Corporate interests and getting goods from here to there, and supply and all that kind of stuff. So we have a huge corporate entity that plays a major role in Against the Day. And by the end of it, the governments, not so much. The governments are kind of they're just overshadowed. But then there's this kind of subsurface level power structure that I think is shown by a group called the TWIT. A little tongue-in-cheek there, I'm sure. The TWIT organization. And the TWIT organization comes from an ancient lineage. They're kind of esotericists, Kabbalists. They practice psychic influence in the world. Like I said in the first video, this book has its own science. This world that we're in is a parallel universe to our own, an alternate reality, really. And there is an alternate kind of science, and there's an alternate kind of physics and psychophysical ways that the world works, just within the book, and it's awesome. But so the TWIT organization says earlier that there are, as far as the 22 major arcana of the tarot, are archetypes, right? But people personify these archetypes, and there is a personification of archetype in the world. Every single one of the archetypes are personified by somebody in the world all the time. If that person dies or is taken out for some kind of reason, that then somebody else will embody that archetype more fully. There is somebody that is embodying one archetype completely somewhere on the face of the planet, and they keep an eye on these people. And I think that Thomas Pynchon is showing that is a good way to understand quite a few of our main characters in this book. And it is said relatively explicitly that Dahlia Rideout is the star, and I think that that's totally true. That Lou Bassnight is the hermit. If I don't remember if it said that explicitly or if I'm just kind of seeing that one. But that Lou Bassnight, our supernatural detective, is the hermit. Deuce, the second of the hitmen that come and kill Merle, not Merle, Webb, Traverse, the parents of the Traverse family, the patriarch of the Traverse family. Deuce is death. He would be personified by death. And Kit is perhaps, he might be the card that is meditation and the chariot. That's what it is. I think that Kit is the chariot, and Kit is actually the one whose storyline will show you the cover of this book. So I'd love any kind of conversation that this brings up. YouTube, it's an amazing book. It is totally worth the read. It might be my favorite Thomas Pynchon that I've ever read, for sure. It does everything right. It's an amazing thing, and it is only the way that Thomas Pynchon could do it. Thank you for this, and let me know. Bye-bye.